exit one, but doesn't cause that immediately, then we're going to follow up with entry and exit work here in a second. But as we go, you can barely faintly see this as we go back and forth, but we'll get a cleaner shot of that here in a half a second. That is the earpiece flying off. And then, yeah, I mean, like I said, if this was a straight on shot, one, it wouldn't.
What's going on, everybody? Let's see, we're not on. There we go. What's up, LL? What's happening? What's happening? Hope all is well. Mish was popping. All right, that's who I was. I'm like, who is LL? I know it was one of my good people. Good to see you, Mish. You know, I thought about you about 2 weeks ago. It's kind of last minute. We had a big client in DC, and we flew quite a few agents from out of town, and I certainly thought about you. It would have been good. We had Candace there. Um, Candace is like one of my lead. You've probably seen her on my Instagram or stuff like that. She's one of my lead agents. She came through a class, I think, in 2023, and now she runs a lot of the security details for us, or yeah, pretty much for us. Definitely when she's around. She's one of the lead people. If she's not an agent in charge, she's one of the agents in charge. So definitely want you to meet her. And Candace is a good example of what women can do in this industry. She's already tearing it up down there in the capital in South Carolina. I think she's a sergeant at arms, and she takes care of a lot of the EP work down there. So great person to know. I love to see women thrive in this executive protection, this male dominated, egotistical profession that we in. But women definitely have a place here. You guys will get to meet soon. I'm actually planning a mixer probably around the class. We'll probably do two mixes here in DC around the October 23rd class, October 23rd through the 27th in DC. So we're gonna plan a good mixer, and then we're coming down south. So like I said, I want you to come to the class. You wanted to come to the class, but I want you to come in there, and I want you, to teach from a perspective. You have quite a bit of experience, and I always tell people to learn and then teach. That helps you grow. So be ready. I throw my people right in the fire or right in the ocean to see how good their flippers are, and see if they can really swim. So thank you guys who are just joining on. These podcasts or these episodes sometimes get a little more difficult to bring together, pull together. There's so much that goes into this content creation. There go my man Kalante Payne. What's going on, Bungie? What's going on? Um, these things get so hard. 666, appreciate it, whatever that is. I don't know how to say it, but thank you for jumping in. Um, so these sometimes these lives get very, very hard, especially when you're running a company. And I can tell you people, once you get flowing in the content creator space, you can really make a lot of money. But ultimately, once you started getting to that level, that's all you're going to be able to do is pretty much make content. And I see some of these guys, I'm like, there's no flipping way in a world that they are actually doing what they say they do. And I'm not talking about any school, any company, but there are a lot of guys who have more time on the internet than I see them actually doing in the profession. And so, trying to find that work life or work balance. I don't even know if that's life. And that's a topic that we need to talk about anyway. Work life balance. What is that? Why do we do all of this stuff that we do? Why do we risk our life? Is the money worth it? Are you spending time with your loved ones, with your family, with yourself? All of that good stuff. And I know you guys don't want to talk about that right now. You probably want to talk about this Charlie Kirk stuff. So we're going to talk about Charlie Kirk. And we talked about it the other day. But this is not necessarily about Charlie Kirk. This is about the state of the industry, SOI, I guess, state of the SOI, state of the industry for the executive protection field. And right now is probably the best time in the world. And this will go down in history as one of the best times in the world to ever have become involved in the executive protection industry. And I can spit the facts why this is the best time in the. Uh-oh. Looks like my mic is not on. Just realized that. Let's can't have that. There we go. Mic is on. Sorry about that. So the sound quality should be a lot better. So I could tell you, I could spit the facts, and I am going to spit the facts why this is the best time ever in history to become an executive protection agent, even to get in the federal government at this time. This is probably the best time in history. If you own a company, to position your security company to take on an abundance of executive protection work, or two, if you're an executive protection agent, to really get in front of people who can give you a job opportunity, or start submitting your application or your bio, or um, what do you call it? I can't even think. So I haven't done a bio. I got a bio, but I haven't done a resume in so long that I forget what you call all of this stuff. But to get that in front of people and to get in here and be entrenched in the jobs. So one of the guys, what's this guy named who's the Secretary of Defense, the crazy guy with three different wives and all the different children, and he's pulling all of these investigators off of their jobs to come protect him. They say this is the largest, most expensive security detail for any person to. Yeah, Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth. Is that how you say his name? Pete. Yeah, Hegseth. Yeah, U.S. now, because it's not the Defense Secretary of Defense anymore; it's the Secretary of War, which I kind of like too, right? Because it's kind of defense. If somebody come messing with you, you're gonna, you can take care of yourself. But Secretary of War lets you know, don't come messing with us because we got what you need over here. So I kind of like the name change. It comes off a bit of aggressive, but I believe that right now in the place where we are in this world, that we need to sound aggressive or authoritative and able to defend ourselves. So it's defense is really not defense. What I'm telling you, defense, that's if somebody comes messing with you. But if I say I'm the Department of War, that means that if you ever get out of line, that you're gonna, that you're gonna come messing with me, if that's defense. But if you ever, the Department of War says, if you ever get out of line, I'm coming to mess with you. And I like that about that. Yeah, so this guy Pete Hegseth, they said he's putting a huge strain on government personnel because he's bringing all of these people to protect his mama, his baby mama, his wife, and his other baby mama, and all of their children. And all of these agents are being pulled off their investigative duties, their other duties, and they're made to work on these executive protection details. Now, here's the big caveat to all of this stuff. A lot of these guys have zero executive protection training. Oh man, I must have something. I've been outside cutting grass today, so my allergies are messing up. So these guys have zero executive protection agent training. They've been trained in whatever they've been trained in. But somebody say, "Hey, man, get off your desk, grab your laptop." And Hexef has 32 children and 67 wives that he need to have protection for. So you come on and do that. And so now this we can't keep up we can't keep up, the government can't keep up at this pace. One, they have to, if that Doge thing is really a thing, I know Elon is gone, but if it was really a thing, then somebody needs to say this is unacceptable, right? The president doesn't, family doesn't get all of that stuff. I think there was a video with Ivanka Trump a little while ago, and her protection agent got into it with the guy down in Miami, and they were saying, this is Secret Service. And that wasn't Secret Service because adult children don't get Secret Service protection. Only the children under the age of 18 years old in the household. Once they're out there, they're going, and still, once they're the president, they're still, they get it as long as he's the president. Then after 18, maybe even, 18, once they're retired, only the president, the former president, and his wife gets it. This vice president gets protection for 6 months. But they're grown children, they're on their own. Could you imagine Hunter Biden sniffing cocaine with a Secret Service detail? That wouldn't happen, So these guys are on their own. And so Hegseth family should be on his own. And just like corporate America, when we talk about why a lot of corporate executives don't have executive protection agents or security, well, the reason why is because the corporations historically have not paid for it. And now with the assassination of Brian Thompson, the United Healthcare CEO, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the attempted assassination, rather whether you believe it or not, of sorry, something just popped up on my screen of Donald Trump, because I got a video that I want to drop about that too. Right, I had a video about Donald Trump and was he really shot? I know that the kid that allegedly shot him was definitely shot. There was no doubt that he was shot. But was Donald Trump really shot? Because there's a video that I believe it's on my phone, so I can't see it, that CNN did of Donald Trump giving an interview. And you guys may have, a lot of people would have just passed this by, but it caught my eye immediately when Donald Trump was giving this interview. And it was the shots that the videographer, if you will, or the cameraman was taking of Donald Trump. And some of these shots proved to be very interesting. And I'm going to share that video with you guys tonight. As soon as I finish this live, I'm going to go on. I'm going to do a short video and I'm going to edit it and I'm going to post it on to my YouTube so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm very observant and I look at everything. And in this business, that's you have to be attention to detail. So remember, when you're working with someone, they call it a security detail. Detail. Security is important, but the details are even more important because you can't do security without having all the details. So I'm very attentive to details. So when I saw this video, in my mind, I said, wow, this is Donald Trump. And I said, they shot this video in this particular way for a particular reason. And I'm surprised that I'm the only one talking about it. But once I post it on my YouTube channel after this video, I'm certain that a lot of people will be talking about it. So, um, let's see what L says. L says, just like military brats, after 18, 23, if in college, there you go. After 18, 23, if in college, we lose our military access ID benefits. You're on your own. What could you imagine us paying for Hunter Biden or what's his name, Donald Trump Jr. or all of these, Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, for what? They have their own money. Why? What's their threats? Why are the Secret Service protecting them? So hit their adult children's on their own. They can afford to pay for the security. Their daddy is a billionaire. So go pay for your own security. And listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how you say this name. People get mad at me, especially black people. Kamala, however you say her name, Vice President Harris. Mad respect for the lady to get to that level that she did get to. But her, Donald Trump, she's the vice president. She was only supposed to get security for 6 months. President Joe Biden, or former President Joe Biden, signed into some kind of executive order extending it because of some type of threats, risk, or whatever. And Donald Trump was well within his right to say, "Hey, no, you're on your own. Look, your husband is a billionaire. Why are you gouging the American people to pay for your security detail? Get your own security detail. I'm sorry." You know what I mean? If you're that worried about your death, I don't. If I'm worried about somebody killing me and I got the funds, I'm not arguing or debating about if the government and the American people who are barely skating by going to pay for my security. I think that's asinine and insane. I don't even know if she made a statement about that or not, but I'm assuming that she should. I think it's the right American thing to do for the people who don't have the money. Why should we have to pay for you? And I also believe that the LAPD or the LA sheriffs were covering her, and then they decided, okay, we're not doing this anymore anyway. So, nonetheless, what does that mean? People like Kamala, how you? I don't know. I can ask y'all, but none of y'all can come on here and tell me. Kamala, so other people get mad, whatever. Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, let's just call her that. People get mad about that, but that's just a prime example. If the government says she's on her own, guess what? Somebody has to cover it. If the LA Sheriff's Department picks it up, okay, then again, somebody has to pay for it. How long will the LA Sheriff's Department or the LA Police Department pay for this when they get no benefit. There's no return in the budget for it. There's no line item in their budget for it. The federal government says, "Hey, I'm not going to say I got you. Thanks for looking out. Here's a couple of dollars or nothing. It's going to come out of L.A., Los Angeles budget, and every agency in Los Angeles has a budget. It's not no just one big budget they throw in L.A. The fire department gets a budget. The police department gets a budget. The water and sewage gets the budget. The Department of Transport, everybody gets a budget. So where does this money come from to protect the vice president whose husband is a billionaire? And why would you do it? Why would any government agency do it? It beats the hell out of me, right? So what I'm saying all that to say, when I say right now is the best time, if you're in the executive protection business, if you're in a security business, if you're on the perimeters or the peripherals and you're looking to get into the business, or you're in the business and you want to scale your business right now in the executive protection arena, right now is the best time in the world. I mean, it's going to go down in history. If they write a book about executive protection and the jobs, and we keep statistics on it to see how fast this profession is going to take off. It's going to be insane. And I'm keeping records, but right now it is the hottest growing, fastest growing job in America. Just like the MVP School of Executive Protection is the fastest growing executive protection school in the world. But you didn't hear from me. Heard from the Washington Post. Go check out the article that they wrote about the company, and see for yourself. Where we're putting a lot of agents out here. These agents that I'm talking about, who are going to be and already are taking advantage of these opportunities that are available in the executive protection industry. Most of them come right through the MVP School of Executive Protection. Look at this, Danny. I don't know you guys, how many of you on here. Kalante Payne says, I am living proof. Kalante Payne, there are a couple of people on here. KG, Kalante Payne, I am the right hand. Those are three of the people who've gone through our school. And again, that's not conjecture for me. This is not fabrication. This is not, I'm not fluffing anything. You got people right here on this video watching that's telling you this is true. Right. And then Bungie says, I second that. So we're turning people out and we're putting them into the industry. One guy, I got to put this video. I've been so swamped with stuff. Shelby Blake, he actually worked a detail with us last week or the week before last. He worked a couple of details with us, him and Daryl Jones. And Shelby said that he took his last $2,500, invested it into the class, and then he has a story. And I could tell you, but I'm just going to post that video. I have to post the video because it's been almost a month or 2 months since we recorded it, and I never posted it. But he could tell you that he was driving Amazon. In 2023, 2024, I think 2023 or 24, he was driving Amazon. He said he took his last $2,500, invested into the MVP School of Executive Protection. He could tell you he's been working ever since. He's traveled all over the world, even the places I haven't gone to, and I've been all over the world. I'm looking and I'm like, man, I've never been riding the elephant or patting a giraffe in the middle of the safari in Africa. I've never done that, but I've seen him go from Amazon driver to elite executive protection professional, him and Daryl. Bungie, right here, another guy, I am the right hand, running corporate executive protection details. I had somebody to come to visit me on a detail the other day, a couple of days ago. We had that week clients about two entire hotels. But Bungie on his particular details, corporate detail, him and Candace, they ran that whole detail. I was there, but when I get my people and I get my claws in you, I keep you, and I push them to be the better version of themselves. And they are already organized and all together. So because they were organized, great character, all together, willing to invest in themselves, I invested in them. And then when they come around, really, I'm like, I don't even need to be here. And they'll say, yeah, I know, but we like you here. But they're the living truth. I really feel like they carry the name the brand right. They, they're organized. They're well spoken. They're not afraid to, correct the teammates. They're, engaged with the clients. They look professional. They know the job, and that's the whole thing about this is to really, and Kalante too. Kalante is another person. Kalante, Candace. I'm sorry, Kalante. I forget you. Kalante, Candace, or Bungie. Kalante came in 2024, I believe. Um, but any of them, I can walk away from the detail and say, hey, here's the point of contact. Here are the vehicles, here's the itinerary. I'm going to be doing XYZ. You guys got it from here, right? But here's your team. You guys got it from right here. And they'll say, yep, I got it. And I can go about my business and live my best life. But Kalante came in 2024. But true leaders, right? So when you get in here, when I joined the police department in Washington, D.C., I was the fastest, I was the person who achieved the rank of captain the fastest. I was the fastest person to reach police sergeant at 23, police lieutenant at 25. I was skipped in a very controversial process for captain at the age of 27. It was really what's the word that I want to use? It was discrimination. So I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say it was racist or whatever. I'm gonna say it was discrimination. All of the people that I helped study for the exam got promoted. I was the last person on that list, and I'm like, how is all of the people that I helped study get promoted before me? And I knew more than them. But anyway, the next year, well, 2 years, you could take the promotion exam every 2 years. I went back, took the promotion exam for captain at the age of 29. I was the youngest captain in the entire history of the Metropolitan Police Department, Washington, D.C., to ever be promoted to captain. So if they ever wrote a book about the police department, they would have to include my name in it. They couldn't even begin it without re-putting my name in the book. But I say that about when I joined the police department. I say a lot of people are cool with riding around in a patrol car all day. They're cool with, that's it. They can wear the badge, they can patrol the streets of a Chicago neighborhood, a DC neighborhood, a Miami neighborhood. They could patrol that for 30 years. There's my man. They could patrol a neighborhood for 30 years before, and retire from there. So I could tell you, when just like in here, I never intended to be working with celebrities and entertainers and athletes all of my career. What I intended to be is to start a major corporation and take that corporation, a security company, a small corporation, and take it to international, and not work with just entertainers, but to work with world leaders, politicians, high level corporate executives, and high net worth clients. And that's what we've done. That's what we've accomplished here at MVP. That's why so many people come to the school. Young man, I got we got Gunner, my former partner, and now he runs his own firm, but we still work together. He's on here, and we can't see him at all, so it's like he's not on here. So one of the reasons that I brought Gunner on is because of his expertise in the executive protection field. The other reason is what people don't know is that Gunner was a Marine Scout sniper in his career in the military. And just as when Donald Trump was with attempted assassination on Donald Trump, they also had this assassination on Charlie Kirk. And I know of no one better to talk about sniping, positions, rifles, windage, bullet drop, all of that stuff. No better than this man right here. Elevation and all of that stuff. This man right here. Gunner, is your light on? Is your camera turned the wrong way?
I'm sorry. Can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you, but we can't see you.
Okay. Copy. I'm actually out on property right now. So
Okay.
yeah, the light's going to be a little difficult to get on here.
Okay. That's
But how are
well. We're doing well.
and my apologies for that.
That's all right. Ever do any fishing? Hogslayer? Hell yeah, we do fishing. I had a coaching and mentoring session with one of my guys. Well, not one of my guys, somebody who booked a session today. and we were talking about. Oh, there you go. That's good. That's a good
All
job.
right.
Yeah, we were talking about fishing, and
I
I
don't know
said, hey,
how long I can keep it on, but I'll put it on for now.
okay, cool. All right, so listen, guys. I'm not even sure if you saw this. I'm gonna have to share it in another video. There's a thing called Outside the Overton, right? And
Hmm.
it's a YouTube channel, and I'm going to share it. I don't know, when we were analyzing the Charlie Kirk video,
Hmm.
we initially thought that he was shot in the front through the neck, right?
Right.
Some people looked at the video and said he was shot in the chest, and then the round ricocheted up through the neck, right?
I'm sorry. Repeat that. And that's another thing I'm dealing with out here. It's a bad signal.
Okay.
You broke. So what did you say right before the
So
shot?
we're talking about the where the shot came from.
Yeah.
All right, so there's a new video. There's a guy called Overton, outside the Overton, and
Okay.
outside the Overton, he's a former sniper,
Hmm.
and he slows this video down to where you can see the bullet. And from our initial analysis of the video, I think we all could be wrong. And then when I look at the video, it looks like the video and the bullet, the projectile actually came from right to left versus straight ahead. So you
Hmm.
can see in a slow down screen, you can actually see the round traveling through the air, and then it makes sense why the blood came out that way. I'm not sure, but once you look at it in a different perspective, then it looks like that's what happened. Have you seen that video?
I have not. I have not seen that video. However, I know. I think I was talking with Watson um, about it. What, about a week ago or so? And um, from the one video that I did see at that point, which wasn't a whole lot. Um, it was a couple things that I could gather from it. One, um, the direction definitely wasn't left. A lot of folks were saying it was um, stand by. I'm sorry, stand by.
Okay. Oh, man. Armed and dangerous.
All right, all right. So yeah, so a lot of folks were saying left. Like I told him, like I told Watson that day, just based off of that small video, it looked to me, it appeared as if it either came from front directional or um, shooter's left, which would have been his right. Um, I, I since then I've seen a couple other videos, um, more so conspiracy theorists, um, in reference to a guy to his right in the crowd, and one of his protection detail with the gun. That's all bullshit. Excuse my language.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and people are going to create those kind of videos, obviously, to get traction for themselves. Um, but it was definitely a long range shot. But even with that being said, one of the first things I'd said, and I think I even said it to you, I doubt very seriously it was a professional. Um, very seriously. Basic training. I can speak for Marine Corps. Basic training. You're qualifying at the time I went through with M16. You're qualifying, 152, 300, 500 out. Uh, no scope, iron sights. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's all it takes is a little practice a couple times, and you're there. Um, and so it doesn't necessarily make you a professional, right? And my understanding is that the weapon was a 30 yacht, um, and again, it's 30 yacht can reach out and touch you, right? So it's not a hard shot. It's not a hard shot. It's not a hard weapon to fire. If it's a Remington, um, the iron sights on those. And my understanding, I don't even know if in fact he had a scope on his.
Mm-hmm.
But even with iron sights from that distance, a body target silhouette. You can tag it. One of the other things was the the shot, the position of the shot. Told me first and foremost it wasn't professional. It wasn't a professional sniper. Um, if so, it would have clearly been a headshot. I don't think if you're going to take the chance to do that kind of harm to somebody, you're not just going to go for a body shot or a neck shot, right? You're going to try to go for a headshot. And from that distance, that should be more than capable. Um, so those are just a couple variables about it. The conditions during the day was favorable, for the shooter, even for an amateur shooter. Um, so yeah.
So yeah, so from my opinion, I mean, from your opinion, I mean, I follow all of this stuff because they had these content channels, so I had to follow. Um, this is this is assassination two of a high profile person right here. Is this domestic? This is why they charging people with domestic terrorism, I guess, right?
Hmm.
But this is a homegrown domestic. I don't know. Do you call them a domestic? Can you call them a domestic terrorism? By definition, it is.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, there's so much that goes into that, right? The amount of people, for one, that was around. I've heard them talk about the kids. He was charged with you know shooting. I forget the exact charge, but basically with children, in the presence of children, et cetera, et
Mm-hmm.
cetera.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was a crowded space, right? And so at the time he pulled the trigger, that's all you needed was for one person to stand up, step over, and it could have been a different story for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so to me, I could see where the domestic terrorism would come into to play. It's more than just murder, right? It's more than just you shooting somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know that this is going to get attention, and unfortunately, that's what's happening.
So that's what I'm thinking. Is like, okay, we get domestic terrorism, but does this say what does this say about the state of society? This is the new norm.
I think so. Um, I think so. Our climate is not healthy. For whatever reasons. Um, Typically, I try to stay neutral in terms of my political opinions or anything of that nature. Um, but I don't even think this is just political. Um, we are living in a very unhealthy time right now, and the nature of it all um, can be measured on anyone's measuring stick, high or low. Um, we're on edge, right? Folks are on edge for whatever reason, you know, um, no matter if they're left or they're right, whatever the case might be. Um, and because of that, you get people from, as professionals, we hear about people from the left, people from the right, people from the middle, whatever that might be. Everyone has um, not so much an agenda, but everyone has a thought base. And if their thought base has been anything but perfect, um, the last 9 months, then folks are mentally being challenged, emotionally being challenged. Um, you know, Things have happened and people are stressing, which, as hinted towards earlier, which makes this for us a good time business wise,
Mm-hmm.
um, right? And so, uh, with that being said, we're in a space where we have to decide. Either you'll let it affect you or you won't. Um, you know, either you choose to do the work or you don't. Um, and with that being said, you still have to be conscious and cautious at the same time um, about what kind of work you're doing, who you're doing it with, um, how you're speaking towards that, if at all. I think the whole, we're in the space right now, even with the whole Jimmy Kimmel, uh, thing. Uh, it's almost like you got to watch what you say, um, because you can be shut down, right? Um, Big Brother is definitely watching. They're always watching, but certainly now, right? And at the end of the day, keep your opinions to yourself. Do your job, because these, the last thing you want is for a target to be on your back for something that you probably really don't even give a darn about, right? But you may have spoken your opinion on something, and and then that's that. But the times that we're living in right now are, again, to me, is very unhealthy time, um, which for us makes business better. But is it all just about business? Would be one of the questions that I would have. Um, and if you're in business and this is the field that you're in, you know, choose, but choose wisely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like the part that you spoke about this, right? Because they said the things that get you in trouble with business is politics and money,
Hmm.
and then and women too, right? But
Right.
I just
Right.
so
Right.
uh, but the truth of the matter is, what Charlie Kirk quote unquote stood for was freedom of speech,
Hmm.
and now the people are speaking out and they are saying, "Oh, your only Charlie's freedom was guaranteed. Yours is no more." Jimmy Kimmel, how long has he been on TV? 15, 20 years?
Yeah. Yeah. A long while.
Yeah.
Wow.
And just here's the door. I think he said he moved to Italy, probably a good place for him.
Yeah.
Right? And even Jimmy Kimmel, he probably could have said, I mean, excuse my language, fuck this place. I'm going to live with somewhere where people respect me, or he might be saying where it's safe for me.
Right.
Right? So we're talking about, as Gunner was saying, right now is the prime time to be involved in in this executive protection business. Whether you're a executive protection agent or a person who has a security business who dibbles and dabbles but wants to
Yeah.
scale that business in the executive protection arena. Right now is prime time because they are these people are now we're getting how many calls have you had in the last couple of weeks? Let's just talk about that.
Oh man. I lost count, to be honest with you. I could tell you for certain, calls has probably been way more than 30. In the last, what, 2 weeks, uh, seven or eight details, three of which I ran during the exact same time you were running, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even jumped on one with you. So it's they're coming in. Got one starting tomorrow. High end, high level. Um, high level H&Ws. Coming in town for coming in town. Um, and another one coming in next week. Um, about to shoot out of what go Oconus for excuse me 3 or 4 days for a simple escort.
Mm-hmm.
Why,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, I'm we'll take it, right, but why? They've done this thing back and forth for the last year and a half, 2 years. um but again, it just circles back to the climate, and folks just aren't willing to take the chances now, high level. So I think corporations are getting it. C-suite execs are getting it. Um, the funny thing is, everyone's starting to get it, except for the entertainment industry, man. For some reason, yeah, no, seriously, right? For some reason, uh, it's like they're just a one trick pony, right? And it is what it is with them. From low to high, and I'm talking from D listers, A listers, even up to sweet seat entertainment executives. Man, is unbelievable how you may get the call, but even still with getting the call and understanding the severity of it, um, how they still want to dumb down your worth, especially in a time like this. So it's just it's kind of ironic to me that you know they're even placing these calls to us now because of the climate and because of how serious it is, and understanding that and actually making the call, but still wanting to dumb down, your cost. I'm just not willing to do it, right?
Hmm.
Um, and that's a whole segment, I'm sure, in itself. Um, One day, unfortunately, um, something would likely happen to one of them, um, the entertainment execs or something of that nature, or a high level, and then maybe at that point they'll get it. It, it's ridiculous because again, I know I saw something today where government's going after Ticketmaster and again, right, because of gouging on prices, and how they did 4 billion plus last year.
And fees.
Um, you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
fees alone, uh, you can't say you don't have the money, right? But if you're not there to be able to spend that money, then maybe at some point you would somebody when you're going with question, and maybe finally get those things in place. Unfortunately, the time of security, being the lowest level on their line item, but the most needed, is still where it is. But again, sooner or later they'll get it,
Yeah.
right?
I had a guy call today. They called the office. They passed him through me because he had some emergency services that was supposed to start at 10 p.m. tonight and went to 10 a.m. And he was
Yeah,
frantic going the line. And, I encourage all of you guys who have a security firm or get any type of calls for security services, especially as it relates to emergency security services and close protection services, um, to have an intake procedure or process of what counts you're going to take and why you're going to take them. And so this guy's like, well, I just need 2 armed bodyguards. So he gave me the address and this is this. And he sounds so frantic. I said, well, what's going on? And he said, well, I was involved in some things and I was in a relationship with somebody and I was part of the family. And now they don't see me as part of the family, I guess. And I said, okay, well, are there any threats? He says, well, yeah, I wouldn't, but they're white collar people. I wouldn't say they would do anything to me, but they supposed to be coming over my house to drop some mail or something off at 10 o'clock. And
yeah,
I just don't know. And I said, well, what makes you think that these people would want to hurt you? You know what I'm saying?
right, right.
You got to tell me something else. He says, well, just, the relationship or whatever. So I said, well, this don't sound right. And he said, well, put it like this. They posted some stuff on Facebook and so and then I kind of read between the lines. So I was like, what did they say? Listen, dude, I'm gonna hang up. I'm gonna send you a non-disclosure agreement right now. So whatever you
Right.
can talk about, you can tell me so that we can help you.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I can't tell you. Okay, anybody. I told him. I said anybody that you call and they say they'd give you a price and show up, you probably would be safer not having those people,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because they did no risk assessment. How can they protect you when they don't know what they're protecting you from?
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
we went through that, and he wasn't willing to give me his Facebook page, and he said, "Well, you wouldn't understand because they were saying things that only I would understand." And he could have been a loco, but I told him what I said. Well, listen, sir, based on what you saying, based on what just alone walking in the door is going to be about $150 an hour per person per
Right.
12 hours. That's just
Yeah,
what you're saying. But if you really want us to do your security, you're gonna have to come clean with me and tell me what you need us for. Because I want to
yeah,
go home and I want my people to go home at the end of the night too. I don't want to be sitting in the car and somebody rides past the block with a AK-47 and shoot it up because you didn't tell me what was really
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, these are things that you guys are in this profession. Make sure you have an intake process, because there's no set price. There's no set price in this. You can have a price and scale at the minimum. If there's low risk, I'm gonna charge this. But every risk that you encounter, every threat you gotta raise the price, because the stakes
Yeah.
are raised. If the stakes are raised, the price gotta be raised.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I believe that's where we are right now in this industry. Charlie Kirk wasn't the first. Brian Thompson was pretty much set the tone for it. People are hailing Luigi Mangione. His trial is in January. I'll be there. I wish that I knew that this Tyler Robinson was going to what do you call it, the first hearing, his first court hearing, arraignment. I wish that I knew that it was yesterday, because instead of coming home, I would have just caught a flight out there and went to cover that case. So I plan on being on Luigi Mangione case and the Tyler Robinson case, because somebody from the executive protection industry needs to cover these cases. These are important historical cases for
Very
the
much so.
executive protection industry. And it's going to
Yeah.
set the precedence where we're going forward. These executives you guys even work for, the people who want the one-man detail or the armed driver alone, or don't want any security alone, we need to be able to drive this message home, not for money purposes for us. We're going to get the money because we're passionate about what we do. So that's
That's
what they
right.
say. If you're passionate about if you love what you do, the money is going to come. The money is just the icing on the cake. The reward, the cake is what you're doing. That's the reward. I find so much joy and reward in doing what I'm doing. But
Absolutely.
you guys, if you set yourself up right, you'll be able to take advantages of these opportunities. And they're coming. Like I said, Luigi and Mangione and Charlie Kirk was just the first. And if the Donald Trump assassination was real and true, I know they killed the dude, that was real and true, but if he really truly got shot, that was the beginning, that was the genesis of all of this. And
Yeah.
so, moving forward, what does that look like for the executive protection industry? If the government has wiped out the agents and they're doing ICE jobs and they're covering Pete Hegseth 100 member family and 67 wives and 38 children, whatever that is, if they're covering that, there's not enough people. And they're coming to the private industry for government contracts, for senators, for governors, for congressmen. To see these boards of companies are saying, hey, listen, maybe the CEO don't feel like he needs security, but we need security.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're
Yep.
going on the internet and they're looking for people. And for you guys who following myself and Gunner on here, you follow us on TikTok or you follow us on Instagram. And I see a lot of you guys posting all of your stuff you do on Instagram and TikTok. Trust me, there's no
Yeah.
corporate executive, corporation, or high net worth person looking on Instagram or TikTok for the type of services you provide.
That's right. That's right. I'm glad you said that.
Go ahead, you
I'm
got it,
glad
Gunner.
you
You got the floor.
said. Yeah. No. I'm glad you said that. Um, they're just not right. So we know where they are. It's going to be your LinkedIn's. Will be a platform like this, like YouTube, that's considered a little more respectable, if you know what I'm saying, if you will. Um, and then you're reaching out to um, more of the masses, in more of an open ranged area. Um, and then guys and young ladies should simply not knowing how to um, turn off their personal um, wants, likes, posts, etc., and or separating it from their business. At the end of the day, uh, for instance, there's even a couple of guys who have been doing pretty well with getting training and trying to better their craft. But then when you look at posts, you're still posting things like you out with your boys, drinking, getting drunk, the profanity, um, vulgar language just in general. Just like those little things will get you passed over quickly, right? And I don't know, folks just aren't getting it. Um, folks. I hear folks are always calling us OGs, and that's fine, right? I'll I'll take it. Um, but we're OGs that stay busy, um, and have been doing so for 20 plus years, and that's for a reason. And so if we're trying to mentor you, help you, coach you, whatever the case might be, and you're still not getting it, you can't blame us. You have to simply blame yourself. Those few that have actually taken the advice and have changed things are actually getting work, getting invitations. Um, and not even just invitations for business and for work, but invitations to join organizations and groups, professional groups, within their direct cities and communities, which in turn is starting to enhance, um, their business. So, um, again, that's another thing that I'm glad you brought up. It, it's going to be a busy time. It is a busy time, but it's also going to be a very choosy time for those who are looking for the services at the same time. A lot of people will get passed over. A lot of people will get passed over. And even if you weren't looked at in terms of business aspect, um, as clients typically do and have always done, some of the basic things. They're asking for bios, photos, etc. Um, and some clients are even asking for social media for the agents that you're bringing to the table for that purpose. They want to know, for whatever reasons, you know, what are you doing, right? And let's be real. A lot of folks want to know, if you're on your social media, um, you know, talking bad about the right, talking bad about the left, anything of that nature, right? And let's just be real. Private sector, all the way up to government and so on. But they're watching, right? And it's their right, it's their prerogative to do their due diligence on you. And if they see something they don't like, it's well within their right not to call you, not to hire you, or to ask to have you removed from a detail. Um, and that's happening. Guys are starting details and then wondering why in 2 days they've been removed when they've done nothing. Well, take a step back and look at what you have posted, right?
Hmm.
So yeah,
You
yep,
know, I have no perspective. I have perspective on that, but that's for me to talk about amongst my friends when we're not online. I don't have to talk about it to the world about this or that. And I got a couple of people a few lives ago. Like, one guy says, "Well, I used to love your content until you start talking politics." I said, "I'm not talking politics. I'm talking about politicians who are involved in stuff." You know what I'm saying?
and
That's
there's
the
a difference.
reality of it.
There's a difference. Yeah,
If they were rappers or singers or wrestlers or basketball players, I wouldn't be talking about basketball player. I just be happen to be talking about a basketball player who's involved in some corrupt stuff. That's it.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but and this is crazy, but in this day and age, you have to watch what you say. So I take no position on either way. I don't talk about Democrat, I don't talk about left, I don't talk about the right.
Right.
That's not my platform. That's for they got plenty of platforms if that's what you want to talk about on that.
Yeah,
But we come here to speak facts and truth, and that's it.
that's it.
And like it or not, it's just what it is, man. But we're really talking about but you have to watch it because if they can cancel Jimmy Kimmel, they can certainly shut down this.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I need my coins, man. I ain't gonna let them cut off my
exactly.
coins. But
Exactly.
I mean, there's so much too, and we could talk about if this is a conspiracy theory too, because I don't think that'll get us cut off. But this is really seems right. When I watched this video, I sent you the link, and guys, I'll post the link here in the comments too. You can check this out. It's called "Outside the Overton," and it's a video where they show this video. They showed a bullet flying from right to left, and they slow it down. And some of the narrator was saying, yeah, well, you could say that's a fly or whatever, whatever, but you can really see it's not flying in any kind of zig. It's just a straight line. And when you look at the impact, you do see Charlie's head go from right to left. Right when you're watching the video, you will see it go from right to left, and then you'll see the blood coming out. And it looks like again the trajectory was going down from an angle. So if that guy was on that other roof and he was a shooter, maybe his thing was just as a decoy, right? It's impossible for this guy didn't have no gun up there. Maybe he was distraction. When you hear the shot, you get up and run, right? Because they never showed him with the gun anywhere. And the text message that he said, like I had this and the gun in the right. Did you see the text messages he wrote to his lover?
I heard about them. I haven't seen them, but I have heard about some of that, and I've also heard mixed reviews, not reviews, mixed stories on um, him not having a weapon when he left the backpack, breaking it down, putting it in the backpack. I'm assuming before he left, after he left. First of all, it didn't happen after he left because of the time frame. Um, it couldn't have been a 30-aught because you can't break a 30-aught down enough to fit into a backpack, right? Um, and then which is another sign that he wasn't professional. If in fact there was the stories about, it was left on the rooftop. I haven't heard too much about if in fact it was. um, where it is, we haven't seen any photos of it, and by now I would assume you would have, seen the photos of it still laying there on the roof. So all of those things are definitely within question. No professional would have left one there unless you just want to get caught, right? You don't give a
Mm-hmm.
damn. Want to get caught? You know you're going to get caught, um, and that's just who you are. But um, there's a lot. There's certainly a lot with it.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Um, and I don't know. I just honestly, I've just stayed neutral and said it ain't my business, right? Right,
Right.
and just kind of continued to go forward um, with those who are calling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and at the end of the day, it happened. How it happened, you know, leave that up to the people who've been tasked to figure that out. Um, but it's happened, and now, um, you know, what are folks going to do about it? And so many different aspects, from a business standpoint, and then, again, from a climate standpoint, as well. Um, was he a copycat? Can you consider him a copycat? Will there be another copycat?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Um, so uh, again, now, folks just have to really start questioning how to best prepare themselves for the possibility of this kind of thing happening again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Want to thank Tex with Sneaks. Thanks for the super chat, man. I really appreciate that. He dropped a $9 99 cent super chat, man. That really helps the channel to grow, help us to continue to get good information out like that. And while we at it, guys, if you guys could do me a favor, let's get the likes up. Just hit that thumbs button on you guys on here. We come on here every week. We're normally on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays between 10 and 10:30, and we normally go for about an hour. But your likes, your support really helps the channel grow, really helps us to bring in different people like Gunner, who's a scout sniper, a 30-year executive protection agent, for him to take his time. He's currently working on a residential security detail for a high profile person. He's just taking some time and attention off of what he's doing to actually come on here and talk to you guys. So your support, your likes, your super chats, your memberships, all of that stuff means the world for us. And if you can't give a super chat, that's fine. It costs nothing to give a thumbs up. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. If you could just drop a thumbs up, just a like for the channel would be great. Um, Yeah, I think so. Gonna, I think we're the same way. This is the reason I said that I'm going to go to these trials, right? Well, you
Yeah.
said, as you say, you kind of believe that there was something, there was more than one person involved. After you guys watched this video, I posted the video in the super chat. So make, or did I? Maybe I didn't. Um, okay, I thought I posted the video. Yeah, I did. No, I didn't. Okay, I'm gonna post it now. Posting this video in his super chat. When this one goes off, go check that video out. Um, that is the video with the footage slowed down, and you can, if you look, you can actually see the projectile flying through the air. Slow speed. You can see the point of impact. You can see the body go from right to left, and then you can see there is a low level building right behind him with a clear shot that would allow that shot to happen. Now, from the other side of the building, if this guy did not have a rifle, because it appears that he didn't have a rifle, and it would have took 15 minutes to break it down. Where did the rifle go, or did he have a rifle at all, or was he just a ploy, just like the other guy? Because remember, it was the guy, the older guy. He had a pellet gun, and that guy said he was told to say that, right? And then in the guy's text message, Tyler Robinson, he was like, "Hey, yeah, they got some old guy and all of this. This is why he's on the run. They got some old guy, and he's giving a play-by-play." Well, how did he see that if he took a shot, got up, and ran away? Right?
Right.
And then in the process
Right.
of changing his clothes, hiding the gun, trying to escape from the police, he's watching the media too to figure out what's going on. And then he's in Discord texting his lover. And the messages sound like somebody wrote a movie script, or it's really sound like a law enforcement officer. Yeah, this sound. Let's just put this. If you read the text message, it didn't sound authentic. I don't even talk to my wife like, "Yes, my love." You know what I'm saying? And it was
Right.
just really weird, man. So I say that to say, sorry guys. I say that to say maybe he was also a ploy. Just when you hit a shot, just get up and run. People will see you running from the roof, blah, and that will take the attention off the other shooter in enough time where he was in the time to get away. Now maybe that shooter actually had a silencer, right? I don't know. It's just because the sound came from. It's just flipping confusing, man.
Right. Right.
It really is. But the sound sounded like it came from the other way. But you were saying that by the time you hear the shot, the bullet has already struck its target. Is that right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, and again, you're talking to what, between 150, 200, yards, meters. Um, if you simply just take um, how fast sound travels, 350 meters per second, right? So by the time you hear it, but at essentially 350, by the time you hear it, it's already hit
Mm-hmm.
hit its target. So um, and being within that, you know, so there's just so much with it, um, so many different videos that are being presented, uh, so many different angles. Um, again, the conspiracy theorists or whatever the case might be about who did it, where they were standing, what angle, you know, et cetera, et cetera. We're living in the age of AI. We're living in the age of obviously computer and enhancing things. Um, I haven't seen the video of the one that you posted with the bullet being slowed down, or the video being slowed down to be able to see it. But you know even that, honestly, I'm questioning, and I haven't seen it yet.
Mm-hmm.
So once I see it, then I could come back and even give more of an opinion on. Um, I would be curious to know what kind of technology, what level technology this individual is using, or are they saying it's coming from a government agency? We know it's not coming from Quantico, right? So we know that information is not going to be out. Um, they're not going to be that sloppy at this point to even let that slip. If in fact, you know, they have, and I'm sure that they have analyzed all videos possible to see angles, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But for it to just right now just be out there for someone to say, "Hey, I was able to slow it down," I'm still just I'm on the fence with that, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
again, I'm gonna see the video. I'm gonna take a look at it and then try to give more of an educated comment, if you will, on it from there. But um, yeah, and unless you knew where the shot was coming, you were a part of. It's like having a production, right? Um, when you're shooting into a pumpkin, let's say, right? And you want to be able to get the explosion of the pumpkin. You have a high level camera set up,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
It's specifically for that though,
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
capture that. This just wouldn't have been that kind of environment unless, right? So that's that whole thing. So that's why I'm like, eh, you know. But again, I'm gonna take a look at that video and see if it even appears to be real.
Well, I got a question for you, right? Because there were a lot of superheroes who run companies and social media profiles and all that good stuff that says, yeah, if you think this couldn't have been stopped, then you're in the wrong line of duty. And, if I was there in the detail, I could have prevented this from happening, et cetera, et cetera. What's your thought on that?
I call bullshit. Excuse my language.
No, that's good.
Um, no, I just do. For the sake of what it is, let's say it is exactly you know what it is, what we've seen. If you could have prevented it, then why didn't you? Right?
Mm,
That's one. And again, granted, we're talking about people who weren't there, right?
mm-hmm,
um, but I would assume just based off of the team that he had and the team that he traveled with, that that his threat level was pretty high.
mm-hmm,
Uh, he I mean, from what I could see, he had a full 6+ man detail. Um, there was my understanding there was a whole advance team that had already gone out to advance,
okay,
um, you know, the area prior to that day, the day of, etc. Um, and being an outdoor event, being where it was placed, yes, I would think that an advanced team would, and then again, coming off of what happened in Butler, I would think that EP teams would look for those kind of signs, right? Here's the tent. Here's where he'll be sitting. Uh, what's around, ground level and above, right? Um, in the advance, but then also the day of. Even as you're bringing him from, and I'm assuming I saw a video where they showed the agents carrying him to the SUV. So I'm assuming that video was real and the SUV was there in that particular position. So I'm assuming that the day of the advanced team as well as the detail um, would have been looking for those things coming in. But then at the same time, it happened. So maybe, right? Maybe they didn't. Um, him sticking out like a sore thumb in the video and the still shots that I've seen since then, when they show when they've showed the video and or still shots of the building, and then you can see the person sitting up on that building. Uh, to me, that should have stuck out,
mm-hmm,
right? It should have
mm-hmm,
stuck out. But then again, was he, if it's real, was he there in that particular position when he first arrived? Right?
mm-hmm,
I don't even know that now. From the time frame from the moment he arrived to the moment he sat down, answered that question, then that shot went off. I don't know what that time frame is. Right? Because again, I haven't given it um, enough thought and or care to look into it to that level.
mm-hmm.
Uh, but one could say, sure, somebody on the team should have saw that,
Mm-hmm.
um, should have saw that move in and realized that, that's out of place. That's not a part of this team. Um, you know, but crowded environment. You're on an amphitheater. Part of it is an amphitheater style seating. Where what do you call them?
Audience
Folks who were there,
attendees.
yeah, attendees.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. We're stacked in terms of theater style seating because of, like, again, that amphitheater style, um, which would have been to his right as he faces out. But then when you look to the left, it was flat. I mean, there's a lot of different variables. Um, One could say he had enough team members of his protection detail that somebody should have saw, that thing that looked out of place. Um, it's so many different variables, right? And again, and unless you see a real, at least for me, unless I were to see a real video um, of that day, and um, something that's non-internet, right? Something that's non-social media, but real-time footage, from the university and those around. Um, I, you know, I just can't make that call, uh, on that. Um,
Let me ask you this,
because
so because when the people who said they could stop this, and like I said, man, I consider us two of the best in the world at what we do, right? Especially in the private sector. Um, us going into that, even with a 6-man team, I'm just going to be honest. One of the things, without you say the risk level, I don't know if the threat level was high, the risk level, because you had to actually have a threat, a specific threat to in order to protect against. So if somebody's saying, okay, we're going to kill Charlie Kirk, that's one thing.
yeah,
um and so these are messages that are coming in before we even go to any event. Then we have to take in consideration, maybe
yeah,
there's no specific person saying it, but there's a specific threat to kill, right?
yeah, yeah.
um
So you
and
want that counterintelligence there?
yeah, there you go. You
Yep,
want the
you want that
counterintelligence.
counter. Absolutely. And so with that being said, would that have been a part of something that we did? Absolutely, absolutely. Right. What's the high points? I mean, we do it now
Mm-hmm.
wherever we go and what we do. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we're looking at buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We want to
Mm-hmm.
know what's up there. When we do the advance and the pre-advance, we're going and we're checking, the rooftops. We want to see
Mm-hmm.
how one accessible it is,
Mm-hmm.
if the hatches are locked, how
Mm-hmm.
easy it is for someone to get up there,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
then again, if the threat level was that high that you're demanding a team of this capacity, yeah, if it's not from the team, it should have been from communication with local PD, to maybe have someone there. Again, I don't want to say this is Monday morning quarterbacking, but it is a routine of again of what we do, and again in that capacity, in that environment, um, yeah, because you're low level sitting, right? So why not clear any of the buildings, right? Um, I'm just saying, right?
So you're absolutely right. I had an interview with the news outlet the other day. You and I had one with the Washington Post. I'm not sure if that article posted or not. But
Hmm.
I'm going to call that reporter back and see where she is with that article. But nonetheless, I had another interview with another news outlet the other day, and they asked me about the rooftops, and I said, "Well, yeah, that's something clearly that we're going to do." Right? But it's also based on threat level, specific threat and that type of thing. Then we can build our resources around there. How many people we're going to need on the team? What do we need to augment with contract security company, law enforcement? If it was at the campus, what campus security, campus public safety, as they call it. Bringing all those components in. But again, who pays for that? You know what I'm saying? Why would the campus say, okay, listen, we already paying Charlie Kirk. He should pay for that for himself.
Yeah.
We got to pay for the law enforcement. You got to pay for extra guys for him. Now, we're not going to do all of that. But nonetheless, what I talked to this newspaper about, I said, yes, we would, we would take the rooftops into consideration. One of the primary things. I mean,
100,
just standard SOPs, right?
100%.
Best practices. But what I would not have done was to post somebody up there if we don't have the people to do it.
Exactly.
The other problem is once things start going and your principal is on stage, you're really worried about what's close in because it's called close protection. You know what I mean? What's close in? You're not taking into consideration that there's a guy on top of the roof with a sniper because nobody said that they were going to be here and they want to kill Charlie Kirk on his day. And we have no specific threat. So if you start setting up for roofs everywhere you go, I mean, your budget will quickly blossom that's out of control,
Yeah.
that you can't afford to keep up. So,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
once we consider the roofs, now everything else is enclosed. We're watching faces and people in the crowd. If you
Yeah.
want to watch those roofs, you can either put somebody up there, which takes somebody away from your close protection team. You can ask another entity to put somebody up there. Or other than that, if there's somebody in the close protection bubble, you got to say, okay, Bungie, Gunner, Melvin, your job is to watch those roofs and watch. Don't worry about the crowd. We got this. I need you to watch those roofs because we don't have the manpower up there.
Yeah.
And, I don't feel comfortable about the position.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you'll see that going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Right? At least you should. At
Mm-hmm.
least you should. Right? Because again, since Butler, this is the second one. It's just that this one was successful, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think going forward, you should,
Mm-hmm.
at minimum, especially if it's that kind of environment, a school setting. If you're bringing private, protection into a school setting, okay, that's great, that's fine. But now make that the school's responsibility, right? Whether or not your campus security or campus police are armed or unarmed, make that their responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
right? The very edge of the perimeter, which includes buildings, you know, because I did see, not not so much the video. I did see a still shot, a couple still shots of a ladder.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if you saw that, of a ladder
Mm-hmm.
on the side of the building, which I'm assuming that's what they were saying he used to get up.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, that's not how he got down. Um, but again, if that's the case, did that not stick out to anybody?
Mm-hmm.
I did see this one other video, um, prior to it, where some folks were filming, right, and saying, "Hey, look at this! There's a guy up there on the, and this was before, like, why did no one say anything?
Yeah,
Why didn't
where's
no,
the
so,
see something, say something? Right?
yeah,
That should have been on monitors to the crowd with the phone number, text this message, public safety office, security team, whatever. If you see something, say something.
yep,
Right?
yep, yep,
And that could have prevented it because maybe they say that people instead of video and saying, "Oh, that don't look right." They saying, "Oh, that don't look right. Let's send this to somebody."
yep, yep, yep.
No, I think you're absolutely right. Let's answer some of these questions here, or see some kind of go scroll through some of these comments. Somebody asked, was it because they were concerned about the drone? They said, was it possible to shoot a high power projectile from a drone?
In that particular environment, based off of his positioning, highly unlikely.
Okay, okay. Um, uh,
Without being seen, right? Without being seen by anyone in the crowd, right? No one
correct.
was looking up, and that drone would have had to get to a level to be able to take that kind of shot. So it certainly would have been seen.
Somebody said the deputy chief of Kirk Security was found dead today. I searched the news articles, outlets. I haven't seen that. If so, if you have evidence of that, just post it in the link so everybody else can be on top of that too. Somebody asked, where was the crime tape? Why was there no autopsy? And those are things that we don't know. We had a autopsy with JFK.
Yep.
Nobody talks about where the rounds enter that. Maybe I mean again, they're not going to talk about a lot of stuff that's still under investigation, but these I mean we really don't have any facts about this thing, you know what I mean? And nobody's answering questions. Just like the Epstein files, they just you ask a question, they just graze over it with another comment about something else. Like, oh no, listen, this is a serious question. The camera that was filming the rooftop over there, did you notice that it pan, tilt, and zoomed when he was running across the roof? And then when he jumped off the roof and then he ran through the parking lot. Now some would say, okay, that was a automatic sensor. If it caught some movement, then it would track something. But that can't be true because there were cars rolling through the parking lot. It didn't track none of that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It specifically zoomed on him, tracked him across the roof, tracked him down. Why was that point, that video, the who was controlling the video if they didn't know he was going to be up there?
Yeah. So my belief with that is the video captured the entire range.
Mm-hmm.
How when they went to investigate the video, um, they had to lock in on him, and then his movement is what they highlighted, and so that's why. So it's not so much that the video or that the camera is following him. It's just that they circled in on him and
Okay.
followed his movement
Okay.
through a still through a still video.
Okay. I
Yeah,
could buy that because you can try. You can even in editing. If I'm editing a video, I can do that in my
yeah,
edit. So I
yeah,
could buy that, but
yeah.
it looked a little bit suspicious. And then the other thing is, why do we only have that footage? There has to be hundreds, or at least dozens of cameras on that property. We haven't seen any other footage of that either.
Absolutely.
So I mean, it's definitely it's definitely some questions here. I'm gonna go through a couple of more comments. If you want to talk a little bit, and then we're gonna close it out in a few minutes. Why did they remove? Okay, somebody asked why did they remove the camera that was sitting behind Charlie Kirk? You know
What
they
was it?
so Charlie Kirk, the chair that he was shot in,
Yeah,
above them above where he was sitting was some cameras that was looking out.
right,
5 minutes after him being shot, they got the chair that Charlie Kirk was sitting in, pulled it over, which is chair's evidence. No law enforcement, no tape, no law enforcement securing the scene. Everybody gone, but two guys come up and pull the cameras down that were directly behind where Charlie Kirk was sitting. So some people, say, "Oh, there's something's not right with that." But then the other belief is that they were afraid that what was caught on that tape, if they didn't take it, somebody else was going to take the cameras and be gone with it. So they took the
right,
SD cards out of it. So that's the perspective I got. I don't know what you know about it.
right. Not much on that. Um, yeah, not much on that. See that last question. Footage with around hit the top of hard pass and went upwards. I mean, I've heard that in reference to do we believe he was wearing the vest from the videos? And again, I haven't looked at it extensively. There's only been really about two or three different videos that I've seen. Um, I don't know. Let me say that I don't know. Um, I guess I would if I had to give an answer, I would say to me it didn't seem like um, he was wearing the vest. Um, I can understand where some of the thought came into play in reference to, and I think the first day we even talked about that where it looked like the point of impact was a certain area and hit a vest and traveled up. Um, but again, even with that, I would venture to say no because
Well, you can see both his nipples on through his shirts.
yeah, okay, so then there you go, right? So I didn't see that, but there you go. But even just the way the shirt was sitting and looking at small things like shoulders, neck, prior to the shot, etc. I didn't see anything that showed vest.
Right.
Uh, and again, that's that's without truly analyzing that video. You know what I mean? 100%. That's just a quick look, a couple times. Okay, I saw the video and just move on. But no, to me, it didn't appear that he was.
Well, Gunner, you said something. You said something else that I just want to bring this up. You said that you saw a video clip of Kirk security rushing him to an SUV and putting him inside.
Yeah.
What does that
Yep.
tell you about Kirk security?
um, to well, it's a couple things, right? So outside of the security, um, the environment of which he was even in. Um, and again, there's too much, and I hate to use the word dead space, but there's too much void space between the two, right? The shot and then that video of them um, bringing him to the SUV that we haven't seen, that we don't know about. But one of the first things for me, obviously, would be what kind of um, what kind of emergency reaction did they give him in terms of medical care? You know, I'm assuming I would hope, and I'm assuming that they would have given him immediate. Someone would have taken the immediate field medic actions there on site, right? With respect to the injury, um, there was in that video I heard where there was a comment in there where it said, and it was one of the first comments that said the guy um, was holding his neck and giving him compression as they were putting him in the video. I mean, I'm in the vehicle. I didn't see that. Even the carry to the vehicle, it looked like someone was trying to hold his neck, but I mean, but even with that, they were moving. You're talking about. I would like to say there's at least five guys that was carrying him, right? Um, and then they said one continued to hold his neck as he got into the back of the vehicle, which could be the case, and I'm hoping was the case. Obviously to try to pack the hole and stop the bleed as much as you can, but um, there's too much void space again in between the two, and then that kind of threat level, this kind of environment, and then also it being on a campus. Where was paramedics? Why weren't they right on 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 the spot? Right. This is a kind of event where just because low level paramedics are going to be there, just because of the amount of people in this gathering, someone gets sick, someone has a heart attack, a kid falls, paramedics should be there. Where were they? Right. And again, there's a lot of void space. But even with that being said, if paramedics were there, why didn't he go into an ambulance? Why would you have to carry him to the SUV? Because at that point, the deed is done, right? So it's not about getting him to safety. Now it's about getting him quick emergency care, right? To try to you know to try to save him.
Hmm.
But um, yeah, so there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions. Um, you know,
And I think again, you applause to you for your Marine career, being a Marine, Scout sniper. Thank you for your service, um, and
yep,
also, but you're also more than just a Marine. You're an executive certified trained executive protection agent for over 20 years, right? And a lot of people believe that their law enforcement credentials, like I was a law enforcement officer for almost 20 years. Gunner was
hmm
a Marine Scout sniper. And a lot of people believe that they come from those arenas and can just come into executive protection and do the job. Is that furthest from the truth?
furthest from the truth.
Okay, why you say that?
The disciplines are different, right? The disciplines are different. all military all military guys and girls don't make good EP agents, and vice versa. All law enforcement don't as well. And it's a different craft.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's like I use this all the time, right? About the medical field, right? You won't see um, a nursing assistant going into an operating room doing brain surgery or heart surgery. You won't see a brain surgeon doing a heart transplant. They're different specialties. So although you're a part of the same field, which is medical, right? We're all medical, whether you're a nursing assistant, a RN, a LPN, a doctor, a pediatrician, a heart surgeon, brain surgeon, whatever. Everybody, each one of them has a different specialty. Um, and so you can't come from being a pediatrician to being a brain surgeon overnight, right? You can't just walk into it. You have to go through the school, the training, et cetera. And it's the same thing. Executive protection is a skill set. It is a very particular craft that's more than just a physical, all right? Um, there's so much more to the physical part of it. You'll use more of your brain power than you will your physical. Being being in the field 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you just can't. You can't just walk in. Now again, uh, does it give law enforcement and or military a bit of an edge over just your average Joe who decided one day I want to do executive protection? Yeah, yeah, right. It gives you an edge. Um, because again, you have some type of discipline, some type of structure behind you to hopefully make that transition easier going into it. But even with that, it's still not easy for a lot. So I hope that answers that.
Yeah, no, that is definitely it, and I do think, just well, I think it doesn't honestly give you an edge. I'm not taking away from what you're saying, but I think it also comes down to the individuals because I've met some stupid
Yeah,
people from the Marines, the Army, and the Navy. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I think it boils down to the individual, but the structure, knowing that somebody comes from that structure, is
Yeah,
saying, okay, yeah, they should have discipline and all of these things, so they should be able to fit well within the system. But I think it
yeah,
boils down to character, chemistry with the team members, willing to be a sponge. What I find out a lot about people who come from our career paths or is that they think they know everything, so they're not sponging.
right,
You know what I mean?
right.
They know everything, and you can't really tell them anything. So that's been a challenge. But I want to say this, and I'm gonna close with this, guys. I want to put this Discord down here. Uh, your chances of jobs opportunities. I'm at join my Discord. We're trying to get it active. If you guys jump in there in the Discord, we're starting to post stuff in there. Once we get some more moderators, people on the team, we'll start to see lot more activity, a lot more things in there. A lot of these videos that I released on YouTube for you guys as learning points in the Discord. I release them before I release them on YouTube, so you'll be the first people to see them before anybody else gets to see it. So join the Discord, hook up with other people like Gunner, Omega Star, or Protective Services, and me, myself, Bungie. All these guys are in there. People that you don't have to wait till a live comes on, but you can tap in us with us right there. Leave a message any one of us. We'll answer, respond to it, give you information, coach you along the way. Gunner has a coaching and mentoring program for executive protection agents, and you guys can talk to him directly there. He can coach you up on the industry because they're outside of the skills that you need. That's where I come in, and we teach a lot of the courses together. That's how we pretty much started teaching these courses together. Or we Gunner gets you ready, we refine. Or maybe is that do I get them ready and you refine them, or you get them ready and I refine them?
Yep. That's it. You get them ready, and then I refine them, and we go from there. Yep,
Yeah. So
yep.
make sure you guys join that Discord. But what I want to tell you about is something that we talked about. I talked about it in the Luigi Mangione case, and I talked about it in this Charlie Kirk case, right? Luigi Mangione is the Brian Thompson assassin. Um, you can't show up somewhere on time. On time is late. And me and Gunner, we had this conversation because we had when we were on that detail the other day. I was like,
Yeah,
right? But nonetheless, on time is late. These guys, if they want to kill your person, they want to kill you, whatever they want to kidnap you. They already done their homework. We are already behind the curve, right? We're behind the curve already. Just don't think you're going to do it advance. This guy doesn't say, okay, a day of the event, this is a nice roof right here. I think I'll just shoot from right here.
right.
This guy went there beforehand, planned his where he was going to hide the gun, where he was going to take his shot, where he was going to escape from, where his car was going to be parked, what time he had to leave, how much time he had, all of this stuff. How many campus security had, if there was access control, if there was event security, if local police were there, if these guys do their homework. And a
Yep,
lot of guys in this industry, the job that we work downtown DC, hundreds of billionaires in there, hundreds and hundreds of billionaires in this particular place. And people
yep,
come up with security details. Oh, I want to get my clients in there. Good. We got
yep.
this. You don't. Yeah, but my client is in there. Yeah, they bought the whole joint out. They don't, if you don't have a credential, they don't care who you are. You can't come in here.
That's right.
And that just was the situation. But that shows you that they didn't reach out. We were the head of security. They didn't reach out to us. They didn't reach out to the venue security. They just showed up because they was with the VIP client and they thought that they could walk through the building. Not only did they think they could walk through the building because some of their people were speaking on stage, they thought that they could be in the conference room on the stage or behind. Dude,
Yeah, no.
dude, come on, keep it real, man. Like, why didn't you come here 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 4 months ago? Why didn't you call who's in charge of the security? You could have came and talked to us. We would have said, hey, this is the deal. Now, one guy happened to be one of our students, and he knew better. He's like, oh, my client is in there. Okay, my man. You already know the deal. You should have been here. So, anywhere I can stand? No. But because I know you, here's my lapel pin. You are really, I trained him. You know what I'm saying? You are one of
Yeah,
us. Just hang out with the fellas, make like you belong here, and everything will be cool. But other people were coming there. Some of them were law enforcement officers. It's really bad when you're a law enforcement officer and you're off duty and you show up somewhere with with the principal and you're doing protection work and you think you can badge your way through shit. You can't get through there because if you're not an on duty active law on duty law enforcement with a government official, you got to abide by the same rules as everybody else.
that's it. Yep, yep. Absolutely. Talked about that today with somebody.
Did you?
Yeah, yeah. About the client for Sunday.
Okay.
Um, you know, uh, so and I don't have to say who, but so Sunday got some really high level going to the Commanders game. So got a couple people, taking them there, and then one of the guys is like, excuse me, I'm coming from another state. I'm law enforcement, active law enforcement, and I'm going to be carrying, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know why you're talking to me, but I can tell you they're not letting you in there, right? Not on a private detail, right? So if you were on the official detail, then now you're talking something different. But
Mm-hmm.
you're on private detail.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care. You're just off on the weekend, and you're in
Mm-hmm.
a different state, and you're going
Mm-hmm.
into a stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to happen, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's, yeah, you don't think so? Yeah, it's not going to happen. You
Mm-hmm.
can go in there and embarrass yourself if you want to. It's not going to happen, especially at that stadium in this area. It's not going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
and 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 there's a lot of high level, going to that game Sunday. So um, I'm hoping he took the advice and doesn't bring his firearm. But
Mm. Who are they playing anyway?
the Raiders,
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, because one thing you want to be an off-duty law enforcement officer with the firearm, try to go in somewhere, and especially if you're the lone agent and you get to the
Yeah,
security checkpoint, they turn you around. I mean, your client ain't gonna be happy, but it's not gonna be a good look.
that's right.
Not only will
That's
they
right.
not be happy, they won't be safe because they have to go without you, or they have to be inconvenienced and turning back around and walk back to the car with you.
That's right.
So,
That's right. Yep. So yeah, I see somebody said there you have to be teachable, and that's correct, right? And if you don't mind, so um, teachable, coachable, and trainable. Uh, those three things, right? And because they're all three of them are something different. And I'll be honest with you, I got into the field before the Marine Corps, and then after the Marine Corps, um, you know, stepping away from 2-6 day, I was, I listen. I'm coming out cocky as a motherfucker. Excuse my language, right? But I came out very cocky, and I was put in check. I was put in check going into my first school was Vance International, and going into Vance International, I was put in check by an old Navy SEAL gentleman, Steve Collins, with Black Ice. Steve is still in, I believe, in Fairfax, Virginia, but and Steve was chief, right? He bad dude. Um, but put me in check, pulled me to the side, and was like, "Listen, man, you can leave all that where it is. I appreciate what you've done, but you can leave all that where it is. And if you can't, then guess what? Thanks for your money. See you later." Right. So it was humbling real quick. It was humbling real quick.
hmm
Uh, and he was right. But Steve used that. He's like, "Look, man, um, you're obviously trainable, and you're obviously teachable. Now it's time for you to be coached.
hmm
And if we can't coach you, this ain't the environment for you,
hmm hmm
right? If
hmm
you're stuck there, then maybe you need to reenlist, right?
hmm hmm
Right.
hmm hmm
Um. So yeah, no, that's something that's definitely stuck the whole time. So again, when we tell folks this, we're not just telling you from an empty space. We get it, right? Same thing with you. I mean, come on, going to one of the highest levels inside MPD at such a young age, and then coming out and being able to break into this field, it wasn't just an overnight thing. It
hmm
wasn't just because I'm Mr. Key, the captain, right?
hmm hmm
So, um, and again, to even get to the point you got to and training the other ones, you still had to be coachable, teachable, and trainable.
hmm
So you know, we're not just telling folks this just to tell you this shit and you know because it's something that we haven't done and it's something that we don't do still because still to this day, man, I still learn every day. I still learn. um I still have those I look up to, that I learn from, and then just from the everyday um work, and being out here and movements in general, is still something that's going to um, give you that OJT, and still constantly work on your craft. So I'm gonna leave that there.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I work on my I'm studying stuff right now. You guys may not see this, but it's important that you get certifications, right? Like I say, certifications separate the men from the girls from the women, the real dogs from the amateurs. And this is
Right.
right here, this is I'll show you guys that ASIS, that's the American Society for Industrial Security. I recommend that everybody joins ASIS. If you're going to work in executive protection, I also recommend that you join SIX. WeAre6.org is our
Yeah.
uh, association for executive protection professionals, where we're coaching, mentoring, raising the bar, raising the standards for the executive protection industry, and trying to create opportunities and educational opportunities as well for our members. But ASIS, the American Society for Industrial Security, this is right now. Oh, this is kind of bright, But these are like study cards. I got a bunch of them. There's a couple of hundred of them. But these are for the CPP certification, which is a certification in security management. With that certification, without a college degree, you can walk in to just about in to be the head of any organization for corporate security. You could be a senior security manager, a director of security, vice president of security, just along with that certification. So my certification ran out, expired. So I am recertification. It is like a 225 question test, but I can tell you once you put that on your LinkedIn and start putting it in your email tags, the people who are in the industry recognize what it is, and once you start saying, this is my price, they already know, they see that certification. We got to pay the man because he got what we looking for, or pay the woman. So I highly encourage you guys to join these associations. Invest some time. They said the investment that pays the highest dividends are on yourself. So invest your time, invest your money, pick up some books, read, get into some mentoring sessions, some coaching sessions with people like Gunnar and myself. Get yourself an executive protection certification and get around people. You're going to learn a lot of stuff in these classes and seminars, but most importantly, what you're going to do is make connections with other professionals. And those
Yep.
guys, some of them are agents with corporations, Fortune 500 corporations. Some of them are owners of private security companies. Some of them are already doing the job, and they said, let me go get some certification. So they're already moving in the industry. And a lot of people come for myself or Gunner, but your peers, your colleagues that's sitting in those classrooms, those are more than likely will be your best opportunity to find opportunities in this profession. So,
That's
just
right.
be cognizant of that. And before we go, Gunnar, I know I'm gonna let you have any closing comments, but I just want to give a special shout out to. I want to talk. I'm gonna drop this. This is our sponsor, our other sponsor for today. Safety First Firearm Training. We just put it in the super chat. He's the number one firearm training in the Washington, D.C. area. If you want your concealed carry for D.C., Maryland, Virginia, Utah, I believe Arizona and Florida, he can get you all of those. And I believe Gunner can do the same thing for you as well. But Kane, I don't want to step on Kenny's sponsor because he paid for the
Yep.
sponsorship. If you want to get a concealed carry permit, I highly recommend that you get it. We're just in a weird world right now. I used to walk around for years after retiring without a firearm. I won't go to the gas station, the supermarket, or anything without it. So now I
That's
carry
right.
my firearm because I'm not worried about getting killed by a sniper. You're just worried about a guy walking in while you walking in there picking up the milk that comes in there and who's had a bad day and shoots up the supermarket. So I highly
Yep.
recommend that you guys get your CCW permit. Also, it can benefit you for when you're working in the executive protection industry. Prior to this year and what's happened over the past 12 months, I would say that 98% of the jobs for executive protection or EP work was unarmed. Now that is rapidly changing because these people say, I need security and I need somebody to protect me against that level of threat. So now they are starting to ask for armed agents. This is
Yep.
CCW could allow you to travel, especially if you get to Utah and you start combining it with other states, you can get up to 40 states. And I think that's a perfect certification to have if you're protecting people. Now we can get into the debate, or should you have a license in this state? Because you should have a license in California, a license in Miami, a license in DC. That's just too many licenses, and the executive protection industry is portable. You might get a call tonight when we hang up this live and somebody said, I need you in California tomorrow. You never been to California before to do any work, but you can't get
Yep.
you don't have a license out there. So, how do you move and navigate in those cities? So we don't have reciprocity, but I think the CCW will cover you in making sure that you have some appropriate training under your belt. Um, that is what I want to say. But the last thing that I am going to say, we're going to close out after Gunnar says his words. Want to give a special shout out to one of our former students. He came through our class in 2021. Stand up gentleman, family man, father was a general in the military. He graced the city of Miami with professionalism, skill, and he provided a lot of the jobs opportunities for people in there. A lot of people on this live have worked with them. They love him. We considered him as family. Gunner just did something with him recently, but we actually lost this brother, this good brother, this morning, earlier this morning. Am I correct, Gunner? Yeah.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. He was in a very bad car accident sometime earlier this week or late last week, and basically he succumbed to his injuries this morning. But just a shout out, prayers, moment of silence for Tony DeWitt of GYC. Got you covered. Protection down in Atlanta, Georgia. You will be sorely missed. A lot of people are still crying. Some people are rejoicing just to have known you, to be in your presence as a man, a professional. Uh, I miss you. We love you. If your family is watching, you guys know that. And rest in peace, brother. Over to you, Gunner.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, no, I'm gonna circle back on that. Tony was a diamond in the rough, right? He was a class act, just a rare individual. Don't find many of them. And again, I met him during the training that we did in 2021, and over the last 2 years, um, have used Tony, gosh, 30, 40 plus times. So much so that the main client that I had him using literally broke down today, right? Couldn't even, had to stop his day. That's how much he cared about Tony as well, and the entire staff. And so what they are doing is they are contributing substantially to either Tony's funeral and or I'm going to be talking with his wife tomorrow, hopefully, um, about possibly putting together some type of fund. Tony did have kids, and although Tony left his family in a good position, right? Um, there can never be enough, and so I'm sure this will probably go past this, and again, would just like to start this fund to even help offset any other things that might be there.
Mm-hmm.
His wife does want to continue to push on with Tony's legacy. They were a very loving uh, couple, very close. He was a great husband, great father, great son, great friend. And so if if you guys are out there, again, GYC Protection, um, you can follow him on Instagram as well. And I think there might be a post in reference to the arrangements. I definitely plan on being there. Mr. Key, I think you said Miami. It's actually Atlanta.
Okay, I said
Where
Miami. I'm tripping.
I believe so. Yeah. So it's actually Atlanta where he is. But just a class act. Other than that, listen, I mean, and appreciate the platform and the time for being on here. Appreciate you all for chiming in and for continuing to chime in for the Go TV. You get a lot of information here, right? People are going to have opinions. People are going to say whatever, right? Um, Whatever. And when they're airing out the other, um, I hate to even use the word haters, but I mean, let's be real, they're out there, right? But there's really nothing like this, right? You come on and a live platform like this that reaches the masses and just have real conversation and be able to real time analyze things of the protection field across the board in general and get really good nuggets, get really good information and insight as to what's out here, what's available to you, what's coming up, et cetera, et cetera. So, as Mr. Key said, definitely join Six if you get a chance to. I'm sure Mr. Key, if you haven't, he'll probably put that link up there or send it out sometime soon.
Bungie
Uh,
did.
oh, Bunch, you did. Okay, perfect,
Mm-hmm.
perfect. So yeah, listen, it's a network that you can't, I like to say second to none, right? But your network is your net worth, and the more network working that you do, the better, right? And the more networks that you're within continues to help, grow you as a person, as a business, man or woman, as a company, etc. So, um, again, just appreciate you guys for being able to chime in, and glad I could be a part of this conversation. So,
Well,
um, yep,
well,
Gunner.
Gunner, thanks, man. I'm gonna drop your Instagram in here real quick. I think did you Bungie see Bungie is a moderator. I have to add a couple of more people on here as moderators because we get a lot of stuff going on. So I'm gonna drop your Instagram in the chat for those of you guys who want to follow Gunner. Great resource. As you can say, I don't have to tell you that you listened to him for the last hour and a half. So I'm sure you gleaned a lot of information from him and could tell he was a constant professional. So make sure you follow him. I just dropped his stuff in there. Bungie dropped his stuff in there. This has been
Appreciate
great, guys. Thank you for always supporting our channel, supporting my channel. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the super chats. If you could, we had a lot of people on here tonight. If you could, we like to get the likes up the next time. Again, the likes helps to get into the algorithm. The more we get in the algorithm, the more information that we could disseminate to the masses. There are a lot of people who are interested in this profession, and we just don't talk about executive protection. Both of us,
it. That's
Gunner
right.
and in our own, we talk about law enforcement, military stuff. We also talk about something that's more important that we never talk about. It's like saying, okay, you know how to bake good carrot cake, so you
Yep.
should open a bakery, right?
Yeah.
No, just because you bake a good carrot cake don't make mean that you
Don't make
own
it.
you be able to run a bigger bakery, right? Because there's certain things you need to know how to do to run a bakery, and a lot of people
That's
don't know that. They just know I'm good at security, I'm good at bouncing, I'm good at executive protection, I'm good at this. But how do you run a business? How do you brand your business? How do you market your business? How do you advertise your business? How do you sell? What are human resources? How do you write contracts? How do you get finances for your business? What money you should be spending? What kind of help do you need? What systems do you need in place to help you
yeah.
grow from A to zero? So I told a guy today that I was mentoring, I said, the moment you think about starting a business, you also need to be thinking about the moment you're going to get out. She can't
That's
do
right.
this shit forever, right? And you're doing it. Most of us are doing it for our families so that they can be good, that we can pass up and down. But if that's the case, a lot of times you're going to be spent away from the family. This big
Yeah.
house that you buy, these cars that you got buy, you won't even get to enjoy it because you'll be at work somewhere. So we want to show you how to get into business, how to start small, scale fast, get good clients, retain good employees, get your money and get out, and pass it on to the young people and go do something else with your life. So that's what Gunner and I combined over 40 years of experience running security companies. Then we can
Yeah.
show you from the ground up how to build your security company and make it make it into something great. I did it. I only bought a laptop, $250. I bought a laptop from my mom. I had roaches, mice in my house, crackheads running up and down the steps, gunshots behind my building every night. But I believed in myself and I believed in what I can do, and it turned into a world-renowned international executive protection company that's made millions of dollars and work with a lot of people that you see on and off TV today.
That's right.
All right. So, Gunner, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for timing
Same
in with
here.
us. Yeah, man.
Yes,
I'm going to
sir.
go
Same
find me
here.
something to eat, and then I'm going to bed until next time. I feel like we got a conversation. We need to talk about something, right? No, we just talk. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right. If you need me, hit
So
me up. I love you, man.
definitely, man. Love you too.
All right. Love you guys. Thank you for watching. Peace. We out. It's the GOAT
All right,
TV.
everybody. Have a great one.
Thanks, Bunch. Thanks, AL Mish. Appreciate you guys.